Hello everybody and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us, and I posted this the other day guessing where it was, and if you guessed Minneapolis, Minnesota, you are correct. Right near the lakes, kind of, but absolutely out of place and immaculate. I ended up seeing this from a email I got referring to the structure garden in Minneapolis, and then this had this in the background, so I was like, I gotta find out what that building is. And it is a basilica. It is the first basilica in America. And again, they say it was started, the ground was broken on this in 1907. They say there was an older church in the 1800s, the late 1800s, but then they moved it because the market and industry was creeping in. So then they had that one. They had an art contest, all that stuff. Foundation is of Rockville granite. Walls are built of white Vermont granite, 70 feet. One thing very interesting is the nave has a barrel vault of 82 feet, exceeding that of the St. Peter's Basilica by 2 feet. So this thing is better than what is at the Vatican in some essence, and of that same caliber. But the Vatican story, as you'll see in the next clip, was from the 15th century, acknowledged to be that, obviously. This one, 1907, groundbreaking, not one photo exists of its construction, not even a fake one with the vanilla sky and the obvious clippings and early photoshopping. Not even that. They don't even try to do it. I couldn't find anything about it. But this is St. Peter's Basilica, again, in the Vatican City. And I think the whole world was like this kind of stuff and had cities like this all over the place for a very long time. And this is, again, the same kind of illogical, absolute lack of critical thinking that makes people believe in the moon. Oh, the NASA guys lost the technology to go to the moon back when a computer was the size of a Walmart. And now a 2 million times faster computer can fit in your pocket, but yet we can't go back to the moon because we lost the tech and we just can't figure it out. But look at all this stuff. These are some pictures of repairing. I gathered some pictures that I found were interesting. Again, this never looks like it was fresh or brand new. The only ones it does is in the watercolor postcards where they can basically erase the marks, and like this, which looks ridiculous. It looks a lot kind of like the Mormon one in Salt Lake City as well. Beautiful place. Just, again, you can never trust the art fully, but not one construction photo exists of this. How can that be possible in the 1900s? When they said also, keep in mind, St. Peter's Basilica, the one that's 2 feet less in height than this, or part of it at least, it took over 100 years, they say, to build. The story is the 15th to 16th century. It's finished in like the 1600s. This one was supposedly done in about a year. Groundbreaking. In America, no electricity, or like, yeah, they had electricity, but still not a chance, especially when you look at the interior like this. This is not just like a stone interior with like easy to make walls. This is not a Lego project. This is something way more in-depth, way more intense, and again, fulfilling the Basilica qualifications, which the Pope designated in like the 70s or something, or 20s maybe. But either way, look at this. This is the area. You can tell, again, oldly populated, very sectioned off. I don't buy it that they made this at all in that time period. I think they may have cleaned it up, and again had the architectural contest like this, where I think they had a contest of who could draw it the best, who could draw it the most accurate, who could draw it so accurately that just from looking at it, that future generations would believe that this was a blueprint. And again, doesn't name anything about materials. There's no measurement numbers. There's no like interior anything that a construction team would be able to go from. Just a drawing. Can you imagine if the old school people were that advanced, where a drawing, they could do it, just see a drawing of something like this and build it? You need to have a lot involved to do that. That just cannot be done. So something massive is missing from all of this. It is so sketchy. It is impossibly sketchy to believe the true narrative. And again, look at the inside. Absolutely remarkable. And this thing has this one scene on one of the corridors where it has the flower of life everywhere, and it almost looks like tech on the ceiling, because it's like one of those. It looks like one of those wind mandalas that when they spin they animate with like different metal pieces. You've seen them probably, the 3D sculptural kind of spinning wind mandalas in people's gardens. It looks like that, but on the ceiling, almost as if it's like a spiritual ethereal vent of some sort. That one, you can kind of see it on the top. Look at those things. Those are beautiful flower of life patterns framed in an amazing thing, almost with two shells, like it's the inside of a shell. But absolute, look at that. That's not just a normal vaulted wooden ceiling of a church. Those vaulted wooden ceilings, I do believe, are possible to make in the 1800s and 1900s. A ceiling like this, absolutely not. If this was in Europe, there is no chance they would even consider being so stupid as to try and convince the people that it was formed in the 1900s. Look at that. Altogether, that looks like it is missing something, a massive inside that maybe once made all of this stuff work. Looks like a giant machine to me, like ancient Indian architecture that was probably capable of moving before it got locked. And all these things seem like bones again to me. I know they're not, obviously, skeletons of something, but almost seem like they're like designed in that sense with like I don't know, something about it just makes it, I bet they were colored in the past like they are in Russia and St. Petersburg. I bet there was so much, and so I guess maybe that bones feeling is just like they're like bare, whereas they could and should and probably intentionally were in their primes, filled with color, filled with precious metals, filled with jewels that all got robbed over time. And all those little plaques, I guarantee, had inscriptions on them. They could be sandblasted off. So much could be sandblasted away with a lot of this stuff, and a lot of the details that would give away the true history and true creators and architects of all of this, who don't get any credit. As time goes on, they get none. No one cares about the architect. They just care about the nonsense surrounding it, from the fake story that is garbage most of the time. And wow, these places in America, I can't even believe that this is in America, the America that they've taught us about. I can believe it's in the ancient, amazing America that we in this community have discovered and relearned about and envisioned. Every single second we see this stuff, we realize that it was made for and by a completely different people than us. And there is so much we need to learn, because it is our true history. What they've given us is garbage, and it can't go on any longer. And again, the past generations just took it. They just took it without even thinking about it. The critical thinking was gone because they were so obsessed with money and so many other things, and they didn't care about this stuff. We don't care about this now generation, doesn't care about money. We don't care about drinking. We don't care about all that stuff nearly as much as the people in the past. So we're dedicating our knowledge to discovery, and we are repiecing the pieces together. The next step is to tackle the Vatican and the Smithsonian and God knows what other collectors out there are hiding the true history of our world, because how can we believe what they tell us, what they sift through and tell us, when there's miles and miles of actual facts and ancient true lore and wisdom that is being kept from us intentionally for so long. Probably destroyed as well. I can't imagine how much they've destroyed, but I think they're smart enough in some sense to preserve a lot of it. Maybe ship it off-world, private collections, vaults, who knows. But it is out there, and we will discover it. So keep going. Never believe the narrative anymore. It's just absolutely shattered in everything. Science, history, you name it. The narrative has been shattered by all of us. So let's keep breaking it apart until we get to the real kernels of truth that exist somewhere, whether we have to dig, raid, or audit even these places. It has to be done. If we keep pushing, it will happen. So bless you all, and chime in below. I'd love to hear what you think, especially if you're from Minneapolis and you've been to this place. Let us know the power and the energy that surrounds it, because every time I've been to a place like this, it has an overwhelming power that cannot be ignored. And it's different. You go to a house next to it or down the street, you don't feel a thing. You walk into these places, you feel a divine power or something that almost can't be described. So if there's any people who have experienced this place, share below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you all from artofdino.com and saveearth.us.